Hi, everybody. It's Paul Ramsey, and I'm joined by Dorothy Kerzner, who is presenting a 2-hour workshop at the 2017 NGH convention. The title is Cerebrospinal Fluid Technique and Self-Hypnosis. How are you, Dorothy?
I'm great, Paul. It's such a fun thing to do and join you today and explain a little bit about myself and what I've been doing all these years.
Yes, we're looking forward to that very much. So that is the first thing I want you to do, because you and I have never had a chance to spend time together before. Tell me about your hypnotism career. How did you get into hypnotism? How long have you been doing it?
Well,
All that kind of
I've been teaching yoga since 1963.
Wow.
Started Yoga Teachers of America. There were 7 of us. And I think yoga was the opening to many of the modalities that I've been studying. And I try and make this brief. I found yoga in Brazil. And from Brazil, I came home and found an Indian teacher that was teaching in the school systems in Newton, Massachusetts. So I pursued, he called me one day and said, I can't teach the class. And he said, you've got to teach it. And I went into a 55 group at the YWCA in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized how important it was, how little I knew. It was the longest hour and a half I ever spent. And from there, I started teaching and learning about anatomy, about body work, massage. I taught in the North Shore Community College since 1971.
Okay.
Still do on the social studies program. I do a semester every quarter, and in that I enveloped hypnosis. I teach about hypnosis and yoga and dowsing and how this is all related. It comes from the work we do in our body to stimulate this fluid that runs up the spine. Everybody now knows about yoga and chakras, but they don't realize how our soul is related to this cerebrospinal fluid. And if there's any weakness in this fluid, it's going to affect us through our physical. So I get back to where you asked me about my background in hypnosis. Well, I'm teaching a yoga class, and one of my students said to me, that's hypnosis. And I said, well, I don't believe in hypnosis. So, of course, I took a hypnosis class. And I said, they're doing yoga. I realized that I had to teach myself to accept what I don't think I know to learn it. And I joined the American Society of Research and Development. That was in the late 70s, early 80s. And I went to their conferences in upstate New York every year. They were wonderful. And then Gil Boyne, remember him in California?
Yes, absolutely.
Steve Lavelle, remember Steve Lavelle?
I'm not familiar with Steve Lavelle. I've definitely heard it.
He was the
hypnotism. I heard of Gil Boyne, yeah.
Well, he was in Hypnodyne. And then I got my certification in nutrition because it all relates. And I became a massage therapist in 1975. So there's your body work. And I'm even a notary public, and I marry people. So I do weddings.
Oh my goodness.
And I hypnotize the couple to tell them that they're going to be married the rest of their life. And so that goes back to my work as a general. My whole how can I say, my whole composition of what I'm doing involves the whole body. It's not just the mind. And the mind and body is so connected to the spirit that when I introduce the cerebrospinal technique, I hope to help people help themselves to become better hypnotists.
Right. Well, let's get more into that, Dorothy. First of all, thank you. That was a wonderful overview of your your journey into hypnotism and all those other modalities. I think that's wonderful. But let's get a little more into the focus of what it's going to be like for people who come and spend these 2 hours with you. What do you think the value is of learning what you're going to teach in those 2 hours?
I think the value in cerebral, being aware of this is to help anyone that's working on themselves first, because unless you can feel good about yourself and learn about yourself, you really can't help other people.
Sure.
And my feeling is that I used to teach the self-hypnosis at the end of the class. I hope to have people go into their own bodies at the beginning of the class and then work on each other to share their knowledge that I help them learn through exploring the chakras and the cerebrospinal fluid as it rises up the spine, opening the brain into the higher realms.
Okay.
Getting your messages from the higher realms.
So it says, I'm looking at the guide right now, excuse me, where you submitted your description. It says here, this technique looks for impedance to cerebrospinal fluid flow from the coccyx to the top of the cranium at every single vertebral segment.
Right.
That's wow.
Chakras. So when you're opening up those chakras and under self-hypnosis, you explore them. If they need repairing, you have the ability to repair it. And I will direct you on how to do that. And hopefully you can do that with your clients. And that will help open up a whole area.
Can you tell me a story, Dorothy, about a time when you've seen sort of like how this helps people, or to give people who aren't familiar with it at all sort of a vision of what it's like and what it does?
Most people, when they're working with hypnosis, work in the mind. And when I help them to work with the body to open the mind, an awareness comes in of a spirit, of a special energy. And I explain how to feel the energy. How do you know that there's energy? What is energy? And unless you understand that, how can you make this work? So it's like anything in hypnosis. If you fight it, you don't want to do it, it won't work.
Right.
And if you're open to helping yourself, it's amazing. It works very quickly. And with the dowsing, I learned that when you're working, I also use my dowsing pendulum when I'm doing massages on people to make sure their chakras are balanced. And I hope to teach people how to balance with their hands on to raise this energy. And the cerebrospinal fluid is the fluid, just like in the caduceus in a doctor's office, you see it going up the spine.
Mm-hmm.
Open that area, all kinds of magical things occur. The mind changes. People that are depressed, people that are anxious, anxiety, just, dysfunctional people start to function better. So it's amazing how quickly this can help people. And in a couple of hours, I hope to have people be able to do this.
Yeah. I think it's an important distinction for those of you who find this interview and are watching it. You may, because these interviews will be up after the convention even, so you could find it like a year later or whatever, and if you've started to look into hypnotism, you might read these old stories of how, like in mesmerism, right, Dorothy? Mesmer, put forth a theory that people had magnetic fluid running throughout their body, which was later debunked by science. But we have a very clear scientific basis. What Dorothy's talking about, cerebrospinal fluid is real. You can see it and measure it. And this is not what we're talking about. This is not like mesmeric stuff. This is very real.
But it's very real. But the mind can heal. And the mind does heal. And when you find an area in the spine, and each vertebra has a color, and each color is related to an organ or a gland, and it can stimulate it. I mean, we've had miracles with cancer healing, with emotional healing. So even physical healing, people have walked when they've awakened this energy. So I know that I myself have. I was designated to have surgery on my spine, and when the doctor met me, he said, "I'm not touching you," and I healed myself.
Wow.
I'm a perfect example. I stand on my head every morning still, so I think I'm doing well for my
I
age.
think you're doing great. I think that's wonderful. Listen, if people want to learn more about you, if they see this interview and they think, gosh, she's a great lady and I want to know more about her, what's a good way for them to learn more about you? Do you have a website or anything like that?
I do have a website. It's dorothykerzner.com. And my Umi story is on YouTube. It's called The Umi Story. And it's about a little boy who's lost in the dark, who's afraid of the dark. And his father finds out that he's afraid of the dark and presents him with his Umi. He tells him about Umi. And Umi appears, and everybody has an Umi. Umi's your inner power. And this is what my work is about, awakening your inner power. And if cerebrospinal fluid will help you to awaken the inner power, we all have it. Just awaken to the fact that you do. And all your self-esteem comes right into you.
Cool.
It
Cool.
reinforces it.
Nice.
And I'm still teaching my classes, and I'm still doing massage, and I'm still doing hypnosis, and
You're
I love my
fantastic.
work and I love my life. So it has a lot to say about the balancing that we create.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys, just to recap, cerebrospinal fluid technique, self-hypnosis. It's the first day, Friday of the convention. In the first time slot, 9 a.m. It's a 2-hour workshop, and you can hang out with Dorothy and learn about her vast career and wealth.
Tell them to come to 7:00 yoga.
And that's right. She also teaches the yoga class to start the day. So if you want to start your day with Dorothy, she does yoga class to start the day each morning of the convention. So,
And I've been doing that since 1988.
is that all? Just since 1988?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You're fantastic. I love you. Thank you for spending this time with me.
I love you too, Paul. You're delightful. And thank you for doing these interviews. It's really so helpful to
You're
everybody.
most welcome. I look forward to seeing you in August. You be well.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much.